Welcome to Holistic Kid Show. My name is Zane.
My name's Abdullah.
And my name's Imad.
We're the Holistic Kids, here to educate us kids from the inside out. Are you happy? We like being happy. As kids, we're naturally happy. But as we grow, happiness can be robbed from us.
We like being happy. Oh no! I don't want anyone to rob my happiness.
Well, we are in luck. Today we have an expert in happiness, Miss Margie Bissinger. Miss Margie Bissinger is a physical therapist, integrative health coach, and happiness trainer. She merges her expertise in these disciplines to assist her clients and program participants in a comprehensive approach to their health through whole foods, exercise, mind body relaxation techniques, and happiness training. Margie currently works with clients on an individual basis as well as through group classes. Margie is the host of the Happy Bones Happy Life podcast. Miss Margie believes that happiness plays as integral role in our bone and overall health. She has been teaching our patients happiness habits for over 35 years and seen the powerful habits for over 35 years and seen the powerful effects happiness has on chronic pain and recovery. Miss Margie created the Happy Me, Happy Lifestyle 8-week online program to help people increase their happiness level, energy, and overall health. Miss Margie has lectured to the Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, hospitals, and women's groups throughout the country. She has been featured in the New York Times, Menopause Management, OBGYN News, and contributed to numerous health and fitness books. Thank you for joining us today, Miss Margie.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
So, how did you become the happiness expert today? We would love to hear your story.
You know, it's interesting. It started out, did a physical therapist for many years. So back over around 35 years ago, I'm working as a physical therapist, working with people who had a lot of pain, neck pain, back pain, and everybody was so unhappy. You know, they were just really miserable. And I was thinking about it, and I had gone through some really challenging times right before that. And they would say to me, Margie, you're so happy. And I thought, what was it that got me through those challenging times? And now I call them happiness habits. But I started teaching my patients some of these little tricks and habits. And all of a sudden, it was amazing. Neck pain, back pain, headaches started getting better so much faster. And and also then they started being happy. Joy was returning. And I saw how powerful this piece was in so many aspects of our life. And so that was 35 years ago. I've been teaching that to every patient I work with, every person in my program. And it was so powerful that I decided to also have a program where I really, really worked on just happiness. So that's how that got started. And since then, I did a lot of research as well in positive psychology and really learned how to teach happiness. So that's my happiness story. And it's been so much fun. Love doing it because who doesn't want to be happy?
That's phenomenal.
Let's start with the basics. What is happiness?
You know, that's such a good question, because let me tell you what happiness isn't. Happiness isn't when you're walking around, with a fake smile and everything's wonderful and terrific, because that's not what it is. What happiness is, it's a deep sense of peace and well-being that does not depend on your circumstances. And that's so interesting because most people think, I'll be happy when I finish school, or I'll be happy when I make more money, or I'll be happy when I have different friends. But they found that the circumstance isn't what makes people happy. It's a deep sense. So that's what it is. So when you have that deep sense of peace and well-being, you can ride the waves, because life, as we know, especially this year, isn't easy. So that's what it is. I like to add one more piece to it, though. I like to say also to live your life in color, that it should be fun and exciting, and happy and joyful, besides just being peace and well-being. So combination.
That's amazing. So, why is happiness so important besides the feeling?
Well, they've done numerous studies. There's a lot of health benefits to happiness. I mean, people live 9 years longer. People have much better relationships. They make more money. They're happier. They have more passion. So there's a lot of benefits, as well as health and wellness. And the truth is, we have one life to live. And so often you ask people how they're doing. I'm okay. Well, we're not here to be okay. We're here to thrive. We're here to really enjoy this life. So I think that everybody wants that joy in their life. So besides all the health benefits, there's just so many benefits in terms of living your life the way you're really intended to.
In my class, there are a lot of kids that aren't that happy. What is happening to us kids' happiness?
I think there's a lot of things. I mean, I think even before the pandemic, there's more depression, there's more anxiety. Just like you said, there's so much unhappiness and sadness. And I think one of the reasons is that we're so busy and we're bombarded with so many things that we have to do. And there's so much stimulus that it causes overwhelm. And I think overwhelm is really one of the things that zaps our happiness, but it sort of takes us out of living in the present. And sometimes we're so busy with what we have to do that we forget about making time for fun and making sure we're doing our passion. So I think that's one of the big reasons today, with just so much stimulus and so much going on, we sort of lose that ability sometimes to have fun, and we're put in overwhelm so often.
Can gratitude help with happiness?
I'm sorry. Oh, gratitude. Yes, that's such a good question, because gratitude is really the antidote to stress. So when we're in an attitude of gratitude, really stress can't survive. And there's so much stress today. So that's the best thing that anybody can do. And I know your mom is a big believer in gratitude. So I bet all of you practice gratitude. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you can agree with me that when you're feeling grateful for all the good that exists, more good happens. It just really, really the best thing that we can do. And it's been researched. They've been scientifically proven that gratitude reduces our stress chemicals and takes us out of stress, which has so many negative effects on our health.
What other things can kids do to help our happiness?
I think there's a couple things that you can do. Number one, I think something that really zaps our happiness is when there's like a way you can live life, either that you're being a victim, like, oh, poor me, or that you're a victor, that you take charge. So sometimes if things happen, instead of thinking, oh, poor me, and focusing on the problem, if you start focusing on, well, what can I do? And what was the solution? I think that's a really great thing that you can do. I think another thing that's so important is our thoughts. And so often we have so many negative thoughts, or we wake up and we think of what's not working in the world. Whereas if we can think of the positives, so what I suggest people do is wake up and think of what good is happening and really start focusing on the good in life, because there's so much sometimes that we don't even realize. And then when something good happens, instead of just letting it go, savor it, like really stop. And if someone says something nice to you, instead of saying, oh, that was nothing, say, oh, thank you, I really appreciate that. They found that by savoring something for like 20 seconds, or you see a beautiful, sunset or something good happens, like stop and soak it in. And then the third thing is when you get the negative thoughts, because we can live our whole day in negativity and being, all these bad things happening. Okay, so you get a negative thought, don't absorb it, and then think of 3 true but positive thoughts. So I would say that's a great place to start.
Do the foods we eat affect our happiness?
Absolutely. Think of it like a car. We wouldn't put the worst possible fuel in a car, but we do that to our bodies. So what this is gives us the energy that we live on. So when we're eating junk, we're not going to feel good. There's a huge correlation with the food we eat and how we feel. And they've really studied this as well.
What if junk food gives people happiness?
That's a good question. So that's an excellent question, actually, because right. And especially during this pandemic, people were stressed out. Give me the donut, give me the food that will make me feel better. And it may for a minute because you're getting this sugar rush. But then what happens is you get so much sugar and then, so you get sort of a rush from the sugar, but then you crash. And then sugar is inflammatory. So it starts a whole negative cascade of things happening. So maybe momentarily, but in the long run, it's really going to zap your happiness and cause inflammation and reduce the happiness chemicals. So it's really a temporary solution that causes a lot of problems down the road. And it's addictive. It's more addictive than certain substances. So then you get on this bad cycle of sugar. And I know you guys, your mom cooks and she uses all these great things instead of sugar.
So what foods should we eat for happiness?
It's almost the same foods that you eat for a healthy diet. And so, again, whole foods, not processed foods, and, food in their natural form, which I know that you do. But there are a couple things that really can help the happiness chemicals. First of all, certain fish, like when we eat wild salmon, that's high in omega-3s. That's really great to boost our serotonin, which is one of the happiness chemicals. And then even a small amount of dark chocolate has something called flavonoids that can be healthy too. And I know that that's a really wonderful, again, you're not going to eat massive amounts, but certainly small amounts of dark chocolate are very healthy. Fermented foods like sauerkraut causes good bacteria in our gut. And that helps also with the happiness chemicals and the serotonin. And so I can go on, but I think the key is just a good whole foods, not processed diet is going to really help you. And the key thing to stay away from, the key is the sugar and the processed foods.
Kids eat a lot of sugar. How does sugar rob us of our happiness?
Yeah, it goes on that cycle that where you have some sugar and then you feel good, but then you're so tired because then you don't. And when your blood sugar is not regulated, you get these ups and downs. So you get anxious, you get tense. No one likes to feel like that. You like to feel even. So I think and it also takes away some of the happiness chemicals. So it's just so negative, extremely inflammatory, affects every part of your body and your health, and just makes you anxious as well. So something we don't want to have. And for everybody listening, just start gradually reducing it. And if you listen to this podcast, you will get lots of, right? You guys always
Yes.
have the best recipes, and your mom's book has the best. So she's an expert at this.
What other factors influence our happiness?
There's so many factors that influence our happiness. So first of all, our sleep. They found a huge correlation between the amount of hours you sleep the night before and how happy you are the next day. So often people think, oh, I only got 5 hours last night, and they're proud of it. But sleep is critical for happiness. In terms of, we said, the food we eat, exercise. our thoughts, having negative thoughts robs our happiness. And also our heart, living with an open heart, like you talked about, the gratitude and even forgiveness, spreading loving kindness to others, all of that increases your happiness. But also, are you living your passion and purpose? A lot of people aren't doing that. And then who do you surround yourself with? Do you surround yourself with people who uplift you? Or do you surround yourself with people that don't make you feel good and really sort of take you down? So, who we surround ourselves with and our relationships have a major effect on our happiness as well.
How much sleep should kids get to be happy?
Well, it really depends. I think at least, again, and I would say it depends, but I think the amount probably know more the better. I think it's at least 8 hours. I think that's the latest, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure of exactly how. I know adults, it's around 8 hours. And really you should, when you go to sleep, the idea is that what I found is there's certain hours that are most important between 10 and 2 is that when so many things happen to the body. And so if you can, for adults, 10 o'clock, but kids, it might be actually earlier than that. But I know it's minimum 8 hours. And I know with school, so many kids they're staying up late to study and they're really not, I don't know how they're doing it, but it has a huge toll on your health and your happiness.
There is a lot of stress going on in the world. How can we get kids to lower stress?
I think the thing is to figure out what works for you and to have a routine. So whether it's the gratitude, whether it's just breathing, when you do breathing, just nice deep breaths, that works amazing to just stop yourself or even, again, it's whatever your habit is, but there are certain habits that can, even going outside and doing a little exercise, doing jump rope, doing anything to just be relaxed, walking in nature, taking a walk in the woods. There's so many different things. If you know how to meditate or whatever works for you in terms of a routine, there's so many different things. But I think the key is to stop, in this craziness, to stop and pause and just figure out what works. If it's just taking some breaths or closing your eyes and thinking about a place you love that brings you happiness or people you love being with, and just even for 30 seconds, if you just stop, take some nice breaths and put yourself in a place you love and just feel that good feeling, that will immediately reduce your stress. And just throughout the day, if you can do that before you eat, maybe tie it into behaviors. They found when you do an activity before, something something you're already doing, you'll remember to do it. So it's just a matter of slowing down, taking pauses and seeing what works for you.
Our mom loves to tell us to take us on hikes in nature. Does nature really help with our happiness?
It absolutely does, because we're living in a world that is fast to medium. That's the speed. Fast to medium, medium to fast. And we're just going. And it's tough. It's stressful. Whereas the rhythms of nature are slow. And they've done numerous studies that it just relaxes you. And when you're relaxed, you're happier. So it all goes together. So absolutely, the cortisol, the stress hormones released when we're in nature. So it's such a great way to really, and you feel so good. Does it not? Do you like doing all that when you're outside in nature?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody who's listening can agree. It just feels amazing. So yes, and they've done research on this, and it's a great way to increase your happiness, because we need to do things that make us feel good. We can't go through the day and forget about that.
You talked about surrounding ourselves with people who are positive. How can we do How can we do about the negative people in your life?
No, that's a question I get all the time. What do you do when people are negative? So I think a couple things, just like what you do to prevent colds, you boost your immune system. So you boost your own positivity. So by doing good things, the positive thinking, the taking care of yourself, the good food, the gratitude, when you boost your own happiness immune system, then the negativity, it's who's the stronger force. So number one, boost your own immune system. Then number two, try to surround yourself with people who uplift you. But when you can't, then what you can do, there are the people who start complaining, right? Complaining, which I,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? The complaining people. And so, when they, a friend is just, and people like to, oh yeah, because it sort of getting everybody going in the negativity. And it really leads you to unhappiness. But what you can do is just sort of say, you know what, instead of focusing, and don't tell this to them, but you can say, what are some, I understand your problem, but what are some solutions maybe, or just change the conversation and stop them so that they don't go on, because people can go on forever, go on and on with the negativity. And I think it's a good game that families can play, because we don't even realize that we're, I said being a victim, which would be some of the key things are blaming, shaming, and complaining. And so we don't even realize we're doing this, and we could be doing this all day long. So if maybe you have like a jar, and just, you don't have to do it for a long time, but maybe put a penny in every time you blame. Shame is like self-blame. Sometimes we're mean to ourselves, and that's not good for happiness. Or complain, and we all know what that is. Put money. You can donate it to charity, but just to sort of see how much you're doing that. And once you start being aware of that, then you stop doing it. But for other people, and then the last thing for other people, this is going to sound a little weird, but it works. When you send out good thoughts to others, to just send out good thoughts to, happiness to you, it really works. It really helps people, even though you don't know it. But, so when the negative person's there, if you're sending them good thoughts, your happiness is strong. It can really, and then you stop them when they're going on and on. It can really make a big difference.
Are there activities we can do as a family to help keep us happy?
Yes, I think that's such a good question. So my favorite thing for families to play is called the appreciation game, because everyone wants to be appreciated. So if you're sitting around the table, you just go around and tell each person what you appreciate about them. Or you could go back and forth if it's just two of you, or go back and forth. One thing I appreciate is this, that you're just so kind to everybody, or, and you go around, and I'm telling you, at the end of that, you feel so good, because who doesn't want to be appreciated for what they do? And so often in families, people will tell you what you didn't do right instead of what you did do right. So I think it's a great thing to play the appreciation game. I love that. And then I also think to focus on what's good, to just sort of look for the good, and maybe report at dinner time what went well that day. And, not that we don't see what we want to improve on, but not to focus on it, because what we focus on grows. So when we can share and focus on the good things that have happened, it just elevates all of us. And as a family, it really makes a big difference in family happiness.
These tips that you told us, can they work for adults? Because
Oh my
sometimes
God.
adults aren't happy.
That's such a good question. They absolutely work for adults. The people I work with are mostly adults. And it's interesting, because my husband is a physician, and he delivers babies. So he works with women all the time. And he's taken my class twice. And so he started teaching all his patients who are young mothers. And when they change their happiness, it affects the whole family, because it's contagious. And I'm sure you feel that way when when the negative person's in, you catch that. Or if someone in your family is in a bad mood, does that happen? Do you feel it? Can you feel those?
Yeah.
Yes, and it puts you in a bad mood. So that when the adults, yes, it can absolutely, all of the things that we talked about can majorly affect adults. And then the best thing is when you increase your happiness, everyone around you increases their happiness as well. And they've done studies on that showing, 3 people down, your friend and their friend, because when one person's happier, the next person's happier. So it's a good thing to do for the world too, because right now the world needs happiness.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Do you have a happiness routine? And if you do, we would love to hear it.
I do. So I wake up in the morning and I do an energy routine where it's called Jinsun Jitsu, where I hold each finger. And then what I send colors into, this is before I even get out of bed. And and I think of the people that in my family that I'm grateful for and what I'm grateful for. And then I do white light. I put white light. I surround myself with blue light, blue light is for protection, rose color light for unconditional love. And then I have green light for abundance. And then I send that out to the world. So that's one thing. Then I do meditation, which I love. And then I'll do some exercise and journaling. Journaling is one of my favorite, where I just write things down. And if anything's bothering me, I write it down or just have questions. So that's my routine. And any piece of that, morning routines are so great, but any piece of that. And the things I talked about today, I practice as well.
Wow, we love that. So colorful. I love color. What is one thing kids can do today to help protect our happiness?
Okay, so I think the thoughts are really important, really important. And I think also to live your passion. So often we just live our day to day and it's not, what lights you up. I like to think of 2 energies in the world. One is the energy of expansion and the energy which makes you feel so good. So like when you're expanded, you want to try something for a second? Expand,
Yeah.
get expanded and say, I feel miserable.
What?
I feel miserable.
Did you?
What?
And now go like this. Let's get contracted like this, like in a ball, and say, I feel happy.
I feel happy.
Did you? Which felt better?
Expansion?
Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, expansion. And a lot of times we don't tune into our body. So if you go through life thinking, does this make me feel expanded? Because when things aren't great, you feel contracted. And this is the energy of happiness, expansion. And so even a blind athlete, when they win a race, they go like this because it feels so good and they're so excited. So through your day, sort of thing, are these things making you feel expanded or contracted? And you want to do more activities that cause expansion, that light you up, that you're doing your passion. And every person's different. Everybody has their unique special sauce. What's good for you is not good for your brother. It's not good. And you have to see what is it that lights you up and do more of that. Make sure, because so often we go through our day and we don't do the things we love. And how sad is that? So I think to increase your happiness, use the expansion and contraction, sort of tune into your body. If it's making me feel awful, what is it? And try to really increase your activities that cause expansion and make sure to have things that light you up so that you're doing your passion and your purpose. And that will just make you much happier.
Wow, you are so amazing. Where can people learn more about you and your work and free gifts?
Oh, okay. So your mom has some links that she's going to give everybody. And I think she'll put them in the show notes. But so there's 2 things that I teach: a happiness course where we go in detail. This is great for the parents. If you really want to learn what you can do to just boost your family's happiness. In the class, it's 8 weeks. It's live, but you can watch replays. And it's starting April 20th. I'm doing another live session where we really delve into these habits and really learn, because by learning happiness habits, guess what? It increases your happiness. I mean, this has been proven. So that's one thing, my class. And then also you can just go to my website, margiebissinger.com. And then I also have a free gift for you. It's a journal. It's called the 7 Days of Happiness Habits Journal. And it goes through some of these habits to help get you started with them. And I guarantee once you start adding these habits to your life, you'll really see your happiness soar. And it's fun, and your health. It's amazing that, we didn't really talk in detail about the health benefits, but people live 9 years longer who are happier. Their immune systems, they're 35% less likely to get sick. Can you imagine? So it's just a win-win situation.
That was so empowering. Everyone make sure to follow Miss Margie on social media.
Oh, well.
Thank you so much, Miss Margie.
Well, you guys are amazing. I'm so impressed with the three of you. I'm sure your mom is grateful every day for having such amazing kids. And this is so wonderful that you're spreading. I mean, you're making other people happy by just spreading this important information that you do through your show. You are doing so much good in the world and spreading happiness and spreading health. So it's been just such a pleasure being with you. And I can't thank you enough for inviting me here today and being with all your audience. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Happiness is an ongoing process and a choice. Optimizing your happiness can help to keep your brain and body healthy from the inside out. To protect your happiness, make sure to be grateful. As gratitude and feed your happiness. If we are always worried about what we don't have, then it's really difficult to be happy. We love to sing the Grateful Thankful song, and we increase our gratitude when we feel like we are getting down. Make sure to practice mindfulness. When we are mindful, we are focusing on what is going on in this present moment without judgment. Being mindful of the people you surround yourself with, the food you eat, and be mindful of how you feel. Make sure to get enough exercise in nature. There is a direct connection between how we feel and exercise. Studies have shown that spending time outdoors can actually make you happy. Be mindful of how your sleep is. Sleep can influence our mood, so make sure you sleep on time. Be mindful of what you eat, as the food you eat can affect your happiness. Eat the rainbow and eliminate sugar and processed carbs that may give you short-term happiness, but in the long run, it'll rob you of your happiness.
Again, thank you again, Miss Margie. That was awesome.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zain Ansari.
I'm Abdullah.
And my name's Imad.
Follow my family and I on social media, Holistic Mom and D, and look out for my mom's book, The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease, and the amazing book we wrote together called Adam's Healing Adventures, and the new book that just released, The Pandemic Prescription. So check it out on Amazon. Yay! Kids need to learn from other kids. Please download our podcast on iTunes and leave a review so other kids and families can benefit. We need to work together to create a healthier future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kitchen, where kids are empowering kids. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.